Good evening, everyone. We will call this meeting to order. This is the School Uniform Committee of the St. Mary Parish School Board. It is March the 25th, 2026 at 4:30 in the evening. We are in the Evan Medines Board Meeting Room. Before we take roll, I want to remind all of our committee members that we cannot have more than one microphone on at a time, or it silences the microphones. We have to use our microphones, or the people at home cannot hear us. Also, it will not pick up on the minutes for Ms. Stewart in the back. And what else was there, Caleb? Uniforms? Correct. Oh, when you make a motion, please state your name first. I state your name, make your motion. And if you are going to second a motion, please also state your name. That just helps with the minutes. Okay, so we'll take roll at this time. Ms. LaSalle, Ms. Anselm, here. Ms. Brent, Ms. Griffin, here. Mr. Mancuso, Ms. Bourgeois, here. Ms. Davis, Ms. Everett, here. Ms. Gant, Ms. Grizafi, Ms. Hills, Ms. Hoffpower, Mr. Holmes, here. Mr. Lewis, Ms. Mason, here. Ms. Rack, Mr. Ross, Ms. Vining, here. Mr. Williams. Here. 12 present, we have a quorum. Okay, at this time, it has been mentioned that it might be a best idea if we switch our first item up for bids, the skirt policy, and put it number 4 on the agenda, just because this item will have more discussion. So we need to vote on just changing up the order of our agenda to make item number 1 our final item of the meeting. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to make item number 1 discussion or take action to ban or revise skirt policies to item number 4, please.
I'll second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to business affairs, item number 2. Discuss and/or take action to revise student sock policy to allow students to wear any kind of socks as long as there are no inappropriate logos, graphics, or words, etc. And this item's up for discussion. Mr. Holmes, can you explain what the policy is currently?
Currently, the policy states that students must wear solid white, black, brown, navy blue, or khaki tan colored socks with no logos or emblems on them. Socks must be worn above the ankles and must be visible at all times. No anklets or footy socks are allowed. And again, the proposal is to revise the sock policy to allow students to wear any socks as long as there are no inappropriate logos, graphics, or words.
Why change the policy? What's the problem with the policy the way it is my question.
The administrator who proposed this change just thought it would be less of a battle with school officials having to police the students with the socks, because they're seeing a variety of different socks, and mostly socks that don't match, but that tends to be the trend, that the students like to wear socks that are mismatched, or they like to wear socks with different colors, etc. And some administrators are believing that it takes too much time to police the socks. And that's why they are proposing this revision.
I'll speak as an administrator, Tanya Hills. Um, just uniforms, period, is hard to police. But then if we start changing and having a variety of this is okay and this isn't, like, okay, you can wear whatever socks you want, but you can't wear whatever jacket you want, that makes it even more difficult because then you have to remember, okay, what are we allowing them to wear? Whatever they want to wear. What are we allowing them that has to follow this policy? So, in my opinion, if we stick to a certain thing, it's easier because we know these colors and we know this is set in stone, and it's easier for my teachers as well because they're the ones who checks in the morning to inform us of anything that needs to be addressed.
So I am not just a parent, but I'm also a teacher myself. And the socks, I mean, it may also be because I'm high school, but my kids are in elementary and junior high. Socks aren't a big deal as far as what socks they wear. Like to me, with my kids would absolutely, they love crazy sock days because they get to wear the socks that show a little bit of the personality in their uniform. And so they love having the chance to wear different socks. And my daughters like the girly socks that might have some pink on it. But then as a teacher, I don't like, they're not a distraction. It's not a big deal when they wear different socks. I know we are not battling that where I'm at.
I can speak as a parent as well. I have children, and I'm also a principal of elementary, and I can speak that socks are a distraction for elementary because they come with designs and little ears that flop and fur that wiggles. And they're all like, oh, look at the socks, instead of cat. So socks are a distraction in elementary as well. And also, a uniform's in place to be a uniform. We're supposed to be uniform. So if you take that away, then it's no longer considered a uniform. So we could just get away with all of it or keep a uniform. That's my opinion.
Shannon Hoff-Power. As a former elementary principal and now supervisor, I agree with Ms. Hills. I just feel like we need to stick with certain things. I'm not policing socks to say, oh, pull up your pants and let's see what socks you have on. I don't think we need to do that. But I think we need to stick to the certain colors. And I know it says that you have to have a sock above the ankle, but I feel like the little low socks would be fine as long as they stick to the same colors that we have now and the same policies with no logos and things like that. I like having crazy sock day and having those special days, and those make things special for the kids. But I kind of agree, if you start changing things up, it just gets even harder to keep things in track and control things.
I forgot to mention who I am. I'm Skipper Williams. In saying that, I get it with the kids. Who don't like happy socks. I got some on right now. I'm not gonna show them to y'all, but I got happy socks on. And kids love that, everybody. They wanna get outside the box. But part of the school uniform policy is so that everybody can afford to dress and not feel like they're an outcast, I think. If we start allowing Nike or Adidas logos on socks, then them things cost $10, $15 a pair. Almost 70% of our student population is on free lunch because they come from poor families. We need to recognize that in when we make policy changes. I'm just here in an advisory capacity. I'm a retail merchant that sells school uniforms. And I get, and if they got one day a week where they get to wear their happy socks, well, then that might suffice. Like they get to wear spirit shirts or whatever. We start doing that, next thing you know, we're gonna have somebody gonna have a hot pink sock on one foot and a chartreuse sock on the other foot, and Yeah, he's happy. It draws a lot of attention to him, and it might, and it's, we're gonna be policing children for doing the things they're not supposed to be doing until the end of time. When I was in school, it was a belt. You had to have a belt on, and I think you still have to have a belt on, but there's always something.
Have anyone in the audience that filled out a blue card for socks? I don't think so. Somebody left off their topic. Ms. Rentro, please come to the microphone.
Hi, Lauren Rentro. There's no middle school principal representative here, so I can speak on behalf of middle school and elementary school. I represent grades 5 through 8, and I agree with Ms. Hills and Ms. Hoffbauer and Mr. Williams. We have to remember that, like they said, uniforms are uniform by definition. Crazy sock days are fun, but they're gonna come with the ears flapping and the pink on one foot and the green on the other, and then it becomes a competition. They have enough competitions, so I agree. We need to keep it with what we have now.
So what if we made a small compromise and didn't specify length of socks anymore? And, huh?
And allow the anklets.
Right. So what if we didn't specify length of socks anymore? We kept the color, and then maybe dress down days also include socks to where each individual school can determine that themselves. Correct. And that's what I'm saying. That would be by school basis, but we could just remove the recommendations for lengths of socks, let them keep the same colors, and then school by school can decide when, or like if they like to have crazy sock days, or maybe a recommendation of the board that Friday Spirit Shirt Day could be a sock day.
Is that a motion?
Sure, I'll make that in the form of a motion. Lindsay Anselm, I make a motion to remove the length specifications of the socks from the policy and make a recommendation that they could have, each individual school can decide on crazy sock days.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it, Ginger Griffin.
Any discussion regarding the changing of the item to say, students must wear solid white, black, brown, navy blue, or khaki tan colored socks with no logos or emblems on them, period. Striking, socks must be worn above the ankle and visible at all times. Any discussion for that change? So it wouldn't have to be visible? They could wear anklets.
So, can I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is Gidget Everett. I feel like it probably should say socks must be worn. Period. Or and visible maybe, if that's a point of contention. I don't know. So I do think it would need that.
Socks must be visible. We can leave that part in. Students must wear solid white, black, brown, no logos or emblems. Socks must be visible. At all times. Okay? Do we have a motion for this change?
I, Gidget Everett, make a motion to change the wording to, at the end of it, to say socks must be visible at all times.
Do we have a second? Seconded by Ms. Anselm. All in favor of this item with all of our changes? One more time, it will say, socks must be solid white, black, brown, navy blue, khaki tan colored socks with no logos or emblems on them. Socks must be worn and visible at all times. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item under business affairs, discuss and or take action to allow schools to specify what color undershirts, long or short sleeves, can be worn under uniform shirts. Mr. Holmes, can you read the current policy, please?
Current policy states that any long or any long or short, how's it? Yeah, that's left out. Any long or short sleeved undershirt, worn undershirts must be of the uniform color designated by the school. And the proposal is the same thing, to allow schools to specify what color undershirts, long or short sleeve, can be worn under the uniform shirts. A little background information on this. When we transitioned from the old school newspaper to the more modern student and parent handbook, that little clause got left out. So it was always stipulated that any long or short sleeved undershirt that was worn on the shirts must be worn of the uniform color designated by the school. But again, that part got left out in the transition from the old school newspaper to our new modern student and parent handbook. And so now some administrators are wanting us to make sure that we put that back in. And that would prevent, again, a lot of students from wearing whatever color undershirt that they want to wear up under their uniform top shirt. That's the rationale.
Any discussion?
I'm confused.
Okay.
So are you saying, used to be, you had, if your school uniform shirt was red, you wore a red undershirt, correct?
No,
No?
no. You wore whatever color that the school designated that you could wear. So if you had on a red top uniform shirt, the school would specify what color undershirt that you could wear up under there. But now that stipulation got left off, Ms. Griffin. It got left off, and students now are beginning to wear whatever color they wanted to wear that the school may not approve of. And so these schools are asking that we stipulate this again, that they designate what color undershirt can be worn up under your top uniform shirt. Long sleeve undershirt or short sleeve undershirt, but the school wants to control that.
Essentially, with it being left out of the handbook, let's say you're at Morgan City High School and you're saying, no, your undershirt needs to be either green or white. Well, parents are saying, but that's not in the handbook. And it's because we left it out. So if you're at Morgan City High, you're not going to allow a purple undershirt. You want your green or your white undershirt.
Well, because it says here, what it says currently is must be of the uniform color designated by the school. So if the school uniform color designated is red, then that's the color undershirt they should be wearing. That's the way I'm reading it. So are we saying now the school can decide if you're a school with a red uniform shirt, you can wear a red undershirt, you can wear a gray undershirt, you can wear a black undershirt?
Yes, we're giving that authority back to the schools.
We could add, to make it just a little more clear in the language, any long or short-sleeved undershirt worn under uniform shirts must be of the uniform color designated by the school. Because when you take out the word "the," it just says designated by school. It sounds like we have it already organized for the school. Does that make it more clear? So we'll work on the language, but I guess what we need to decide on is, do we need to put this back in our handbook and word it correctly?
Tanya Hills, yes, I needed to go back in the handbook because I didn't know it was out of the handbook. So that is very important. And my only concern about elementary with by choice of school is we have a high mobility rate. So, and I get high schools have different colors, but all elementary has navy and white. So if fourth grade at Hattie Watts can wear red, they come to Maitland and wear purple. just with the high mobility rate and buying different colors. That's my only concern.
I was gonna bring that up. What if we, maybe, I'm not making a motion, I'm just having discussion, but what if we would say black, white, gray, like give some color options that are there for everyone? Yeah, because if I'm, a lot of our kids do move from school to school, and it might become problematic for them to afford buying all new undershirts again.
Ginger Griffin, I'm sorry, I haven't had a child in school in a long time, so the elementary school, they wear what, blue and white only?
Yes, navy blue and white.
All right, sorry about that.
We have a blue card with Miss Lauren Rentro's name on it. Says undershirts.
I'll just stay near. For the middle school part, so we also wear white and navy shirts. I agree with Ms. Hills. So the policy was always white undershirts only. I think that was a district thing. I did not know that it was taken out. So we have still been just doing white. As a school, I wouldn't be opposed to also allowing them to wear gray. Their little PE shirts are gray for every school in St. Mary. So a lot of times little junior high kids want to wear their PE uniform shirt underneath their school shirt just because they're insecure when they're changing. I think that would be fine. If it's left up to the schools, that would be my decision to put that in our handbook. I would go with the white or the gray, which would be, something they already have.
Any further discussion?
What about their school colors? Let's say they at Morgan City High School. So I guess white or gray would work, and suppose they have a spirit shirt that's green or black, and they want to wear that underneath their polo.
I think that gives it the option for the principal to make the determination for their school.
That's the language we're looking for to correct this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Oh, okay, I'll go. I make a motion to allow schools to specify what color undershirts, long or short sleeve, can be worn under uniform shirts.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion, Gidget Everett.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next item, discuss and or take action to allow schools to specify what color and type of leggings and tights can be worn by students. Mr. Holmes.
Similar to the undershirt issue, stockings or tights. Now, this is the current policy pertaining to stockings or tights. Leggings or tights are not considered acceptable uniform pants. Solid white, black, brown, navy blue, or khaki tan colored stockings or tights may be worn to accompany the uniform bottom. And let me read that again. Current policy says leggings or tights are not considered to be acceptable uniform pants. Solid white, black, brown, navy blue, or khaki tan colored stockings or tights may be worn to accompany the uniform bottom. The proposal is to allow schools to specify what color and type of leggings and tights can be worn by students. So the proposal again is to allow the schools to decide what color and type of leggings and tights can be worn by their students.
But we are not changing it so that these are pants. It's underneath the uniform bottom, okay?
So I have a question. I understand allowing schools to specify the color. Why would we allow the school to decide what type of legging and tight? Because, stockings are different than tights. Tights are different than leggings. If we're specifying in this particular situation, leggings and tights and not stockings, it's pretty clear. So I guess that's just my question, really. Why are we specifying what type, that the school would get to decide what type? Because the type we've already specified, frankly, are the two types that are not see-through. And that's, I'm assuming that's what we were going for. I would assume.
And so you can make the motion to, if you decide to make the motion, and strike that part from it.
So I have a question. They can wear like pantyhose, stockings?
If they wear a skirt and they want to wear stockings, I guess they could wear
It's
stockings.
just making me think that if you have leggings or tights, which are not see-through, that might help with the thing we're gonna talk about last. Just saying.
That was my whole point in asking, because the original one literally says leggings or tights. If we start letting them specify what type of, we're trying to keep things from being translucent and see-through. So I would like to propose to allow the schools to specify what color legging and tight can be worn by students and remove that they get to specify what type.
Can I just say, we keep talking about colors of all the same things. It could just be a rule that anything that sticks out from the collared shirt and bottom are just these 5 colors. And not worry about if socks can be tan, but pants can't be tan, and this can be this, but this can't be this. Just everything that sticks out of uniform all be the same 5 colors.
The reason that it does that is because some of the elementary schools have their own spirit shirt color that they allow. The high schools have their different types. So I think it's just easier, because if you start saying you can wear green or red or black, and then that's what's in there, the schools will be like, no, we don't allow that. So we kind of just let them specify. I assume. I could not be right, but in the past.
I look at a spirit shirt different than a uniform shirt.
Tanya Hills. Okay, I agree with Miss Tori. We back to the thing about what's the purpose of uniforms? Are we in uniforms or we're not in uniforms? And then again, with my mobility rate, if they go from one school to another, then we battling, as an administrator, we're battling, well, at this school I was able to wear this, but I can't here. Well, they wasn't here at the beginning of the year, which I'm assuming would be in our handbook specifying the colors. But if we across the board having the same 5 or 4 colors, whatever it was decided, for anything that sticks out of our uniform, then it'll be a lot easier for the parents, the teachers, the principals, everyone to understand what exactly the policy is.
Shannon Hoffpower. I just want to add, just that I agree with Ms. Hills and Ms. Grazaffi. I feel like those colors, solid white, black, brown, navy blue, khaki tan, we stick with those colors to have the stockings, tights, or leggings, those things, because I look at those as 3 different things, stockings, tights, and leggings. I look at those as 3 separate pieces of clothing, but sticking to those same colors and not allowing schools to pick their colors, because then we get into all the things that Ms. Hills just explained. It gets hard when you're moving from school to school and to traffic all of those things. But if we know that we have these same colors throughout, and this is what a uniform should look like within St. Mary Parish, I like having just those colors.
And I want to point out, the central office, we're not advocating one way or the other. All of these proposals are from administrators. So I just wanted to clarify that we have no dog in the hunt.
So, Gidget Everett, so I just want to make sure I understand what Ms. Grazaffi was saying. You would just like this to be for everything, including undershirts? So,
I mean, if you're going to list colors, if you're going to list colors, just list them all the same. So you don't have to go back. Like, can you wear a black sock or can you wear a black shirt? Like, which one's what? Now, I'm also going to say that I've never written up a single person for a sock violation. And I don't even know if you have socks on. I can smell your socks probably, but I can't, I will not see what they are. I'm just saying for wording wise and discussion, you know, like if there's just a certain set of colors, then it's a lot easier than discussing the color of pants, the color of socks, the color of shirts. It's all just the clothes that need to be clean.
So the reason I asked that question was because then that would make us have to go back and really look at what we said about undershirts. You would take away that, which I have no issue with. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. It makes sense to me what you're saying, that these are the colors for all the things. And, you know, so. Anyway, that's it.
And I may also add, all of these proposals that we are discussing at the moment came from the elementary level, not the middle school, not the high school level. Elementary requests. Elementary.
Come from an elementary level?
Yes, these requests that we're discussing now, yes, all of them were generated by an elementary administrator,
Okay.
not a middle school, not a high school.
So I think there needs to be some clarity in the way it's written to include all three, if we're gonna have all three, stockings, leggings, tights, because the title doesn't match the description, so that needs to be tightened up. So the title would be stockings, leggings, or tights, period. And then you start again. Stockings, leggings, or tights are not considered acceptable uniform pants. Solid white, black, brown, navy blue, or khaki tan colored stockings, tights, or leggings may be worn to accompany the uniform bottom. So the language can definitely be tightened up. Do we have any further discussion? We're determining if we're going to let schools choose, which is the motion, which is the item, to allow schools to specify the color and type. So this is what we need to vote on. Do we have a motion on the floor?
What you just read, it would change with standing, right? I'll make a motion that we change the current policy to what you read and not change it to allow the school to make that decision. Does that make sense? Thank you.
So a vote of aye would make this the policy. Stockings, leggings, or tights. Stockings, leggings, or tights are not considered acceptable uniform pants. Solid white, black, brown, navy blue, khaki tan colored stockings, leggings, or tights may be worn to accompany the uniform bottom. Okay? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Tanya Hills, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our motion carries. Now we're bouncing back up to our first item on the agenda. Discuss and or take action to ban or revise the skirt policy for girls in grades 4 through 12. Mr. Holmes.
The current policy reads, students must wear khaki or black uniform style pants, shorts, skirts, skorts, or jumpers appropriately sized for the student. External pockets, exaggerated hems, bell bottoms, fraying hems, name brand emblems, drawstring or elastic waistbands, overalls, corduroys, warm-ups, sweatpants, cargos, joggers, and denim items are not permissible. The length of skirts, skorts, shorts, and jumpers must be no shorter than reaching 2 inches above the knee. Let me repeat that. The length of the skirts, the shorts, the skorts, and the jumpers must be no shorter than reaching 2 inches above the knee. Only longer skirts, 27 inches or more, may have splits in the back or side. Pre-K through second grade students may wear uniform bottoms with an elastic waistband. The proposal is to ban or revise. Once again, the proposal is to ban or revise the skirt policy for girls in grades 4 through 12.
let's start discussion with our blue cards, because we have a few, if y'all are okay with that. Ms. Rentro.
Hi, Lauren Rentro, Patterson Junior High. I did some random call down to the front office in the past 2 days and took some photographs of just, hey, any 6th, 7th, and 8th graders who have on a skirt today, please come down. So I want to just kind of, y'all pass these around and take a look at what our kids look like. There's one picture that is a group of 5th graders. I called them down separately. So I just want everybody to look at what Patterson Junior High School girls look like. Skirts in the community have been a hot topic. I'm not sure why. People complain skirts are too short. Skirts, people are looking at girls in skirts. Well, I'm wearing a skirt. I wouldn't consider it inappropriate. I don't know where the 2-inch rule came from. I don't know where that fell out of the sky. Ms. Semino is a curriculum facilitator at our school. We have a very similar size and body style. We order a lot of the same clothing online. We have the same exact skirt that we wear on some spirit days. It's kind of athletic-y material with our little polo athletic shirt. And it's longer on her than it is on me. It's the same skirt because my waist is about 1 inch higher where it hits my waist. So on me, it looks a little bit shorter, but it's the same exact skirt. I think the common sense rule is the fingertip rule. So if you put your hands by your sides and the garment is longer than your fingertips, then it should be acceptable. It's a pretty common sense thing. I think little girls need to be little girls as long as they can be little girls. So I am absolutely 100% a fan of little girls being able to wear their skirts with their newly approved colored tights underneath. And as you can see in the photos, a lot of the girls do choose to wear a dark black legging underneath it. I don't know where the thought process came from that. I mean, I just heard some things, in the community. This has been a hot topic since the agenda came out. Some people say, oh, well, we have men in schools. Yeah, we do. It doesn't mean they're creepy. They're just men. And they have little girls too, and wives, and it doesn't mean that anything ill is happening. I did phone a few principal friends and asked them their thoughts on different levels, high schools, and, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think? And their feedback, one of them said, oh, well, I had one situation with some freshmen, and it got inappropriate. Well, yeah, because they're teenagers. So to me, that's a supervision problem. That's an adult problem, not a kid problem. Another principal said, well, it is an issue because they come too short. And when I talk to the parents, they get angry. That's a part of my job, enforcing the policy and then dealing with the angry people. It's what we do. So for the schools that are getting the kickback, I don't think we have a short skirt problem. I think we have an enforcing the short skirt problem. So just to kind of give you an idea of what we do at Patterson Junior, and I can't speak for everybody. So morning entry team, everybody's on duty, administrators are out front, and I'm go, ooh, Ginger, that looks a little short. Let me look at that skirt. Oh, no, ma'am, you know better than that. Go to the office, and then Ginger has to go call her mom. And mom has to bring something. And if mom doesn't bring something, Ginger knows I'm sending her across the hall to the community closet, and she does not want to wear that because that's hand-me-downs. And that's what we do. And you know what? Sometimes they say, oh, Miss Rentrope, I knew you were going to say that. I brought some shorts in my backpack. It's just talking to you kids. It's just knowing. They know us. We know them. They're not going to get past go. And so that's my spiel. I think little girls should wear skirts. I think it should be common sense. And that's that.
Thank you, ma'am. Next card, we have Ms. Torres.
If you don't mind me asking something real quick, Tanya Hills. I noticed the topic is skirts. Are we distinguishing skirts and skirts as two different things? Skirts with no sharp in it? Is that the problem? Or is the length of skirts and shorts the problem? Like what exactly is our concern?
Short skirts. Right, Mr. Holmes?
So skirts have no middle, no shorts under them. That's what skirts are. Skirts are with no sewn in shorts.
And let's differentiate. Now, Miss Lauren
Can you hear me now? Okay.
gave her
Sorry.
opinion from a middle school perspective, and now we have Mrs. Torres from a high school perspective.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Grisel Torres, Assistant Principal at Berwick High School, but I'm representing all of my teachers as well, okay? Some of the points I'm gonna make now, most of them have been points of discussion, okay, with my teachers. I want to say that we enforce policy all across, about uniform. And the reason for what we bring this to this for discussion is because this is the only policy about uniform that is not, we're not getting better results, okay? So, number one, the policy is very descriptive, has many details, and we consider that it doesn't match the actual possibility for parents to find the right skirt in many occasions. For example, there's so many brands of skirts. Not all of them meet policy requirements like the length, the elastic waistband, the splits. So there's so many of them. So it is understandable that parents think they're buying an item that is going to meet the policy and then later is not, okay? Of course, the length, which is for discussion here, is going to be 2 inches. Okay, and the second thing that I would like to say is about a safety issue, which probably is the most important thing. We have to protect our students, okay? And we are talking, even though these are high school students, they are children, okay? Some students, some girls, they don't really, sit correctly sometimes. They just not thinking about that. So some male teachers have expressed feeling uncomfortable when students sit in front of them not correctly. So that's something that has been brought to the attention. Safety, number one thing. Something else that I would like to say is that, disruption of instructional time. Again, this is the one thing that is not getting better. And every day, when I call students to the office to go over uniform, which is quickly because it's done in a way that it doesn't take too long, but still, it's not getting better. So I'm calling to the office students for the same issue day after day. And it's hard to be consistent because one day the student might be wearing pants, the next day a skirt that meets the policy, but then the next day is another skirt that is not meeting the policy. It's hard to have consistency because this is the item that not everybody is paying attention all the time. It's just easier for teachers to identify. You have the idea or you don't have it. You're wearing the correct shirt or you're not. You need to wear your belt or you don't have it. This is a different thing, looking for the length of the skirt. So not every teacher is going to be checking for this every day. And it's understandable in a way. Everybody looking at the skirt every day, okay? So it's not consistent. Some teachers are gonna send those dress codes, some others are not, okay? So when you don't have consistency, things don't get better. So that's one of the reasons it's not getting better. Okay, some important points as well that I would like to mention is that, okay, since it's hard to keep consistency, these are some phrases or things that parents can say, and it's understandable. Let's say that a student has been wearing the skirt for years or months, and then suddenly in a different school or during a month that nobody noticed or nobody sent the dress code until one day the one teacher noticed, okay, that's a short skirt, I'm gonna send it. And then that parent can call and say, how come for years or months my daughter has been wearing this and now it's wrong? So how you feel about that? Because it's true. Okay, so we enforce it or we do not enforce it. Is everybody enforcing that? Is it easy for us to enforce it? It's not. And we are. I have teachers that are very committed to the rules and the uniforms specifically, but it's not getting better, really.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. We also have a blue card for Ms. Sue Melvin.
Hi, I'm Sue Melvin. I am a member of Christ's Gospel Church in Patterson on the end of Red Cypress Road. And I would like to read a letter that was emailed earlier today to Dr. Sanders in reference to the proposed change in school uniform policy. Dr. Sanders and committee, on behalf of Christ's Gospel Church of Patterson, we respectfully disagree with the proposed change to the current uniform dress code that would disallow girls to wear skirts. This change seems patently unfair to the girls that are in compliance with the code. They should not be penalized because of those who are not abiding by the code, and we have concluded that it is an enforcement issue. Some girls prefer to wear skirts, considering skirts to be more modest. Some, because of physical reasons, choose skirts. Some girls prefer dressing in a skirt because they feel this is gender positive and more feminine. Others prefer skirts as a way of practicing their religious beliefs and personal convictions. Please consider these girls in your stated motto, every student, every day. The rights of these girls must be protected. On behalf of Christ's Gospel Church of Patterson, its governing board, and its congregate, we ask you to consider our stated points. Sincerely, Christ's Gospel Church of Patterson, Jim Melvin, Member, Board of Directors.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Mr. Borrell?
I'm usually behind the media desk, so this is different for me. Thank you. My name is Brady Burrell. My daughter is a 7th grader at Patterson Junior High School, and I do want to thank Ms. Renfro for her support. I emailed a letter to the board members who are on this committee, also hand-delivered it to Dr. Sanders today, had a phone conversation with Ms. Anselm, and I would like to read a letter from our pastor, Justin Lee, from the Tri-City Pentecostals. Dear Dr. Sanders and School Uniform Committee, I am writing to express my concerns regarding the possibility of a ban on skirts for female students. From what I understand, some students have worn skirts that do not meet the established dress code. If so, that needs to be addressed. But removing skirts altogether would create new challenges for many families on social and religious levels. Many families in our community seek to raise their daughters to dress modestly in accordance with biblical principles, and skirts play a role in that practice. Eliminating skirts would force those students to go against the religious convictions that their families hold. This would place them in a difficult position, choosing between the school's policy or honoring their convictions. I ask that you consider enforcing the existing dress code without banning an entire category of clothing. Doing so protects the standards and beliefs of families who value them and preserves a healthy and respectful relationship between the school and our community. If you have any questions concerning this matter, please feel free to contact me using the number listed above, which is on the letter, and he would be glad to speak with you and assist in any way. Thank you for your time and your service to our students. May God bless and keep you. Sincerely, Justin Lee, the pastor of Tri-City Pentecostals. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brady. And Mr. Bienvenu.
I guess my handwriting's that bad. I wasn't here to talk about skirts. I was here to talk about shirts.
Buddy, as your former English teacher, I did not do a very good job.
And then I got to go after those two. Man.
Why didn't you raise your hand and stop us?
Well, I mean, because I really wasn't on the agenda. It was more of the spirit shirt topic. So I don't know if y'all want to expand the agenda to add
You
that
are on a
to it.
blue card. Speak your mind.
Okay. So my name's Andrew Bienvenu. Of course, my kids go to Patterson Junior High. I was here to talk about the shirt policy that we have. As of now, the kids can wear navy, white, whatever high school they're at, different colors. My request is to try to allow the kids to wear a spirit shirt every day, and part of that reason being is a lot of us we're not purchasing shirts here locally. We're ordering them online. They're getting shipped to our house, and that's what we're rolling with, And it'd be nice to be able to. We try to purchase a shirt from everything that our kid is involved with, and you get to wear it on Friday, and that's it, And maybe this power is just left up to the schools, but it would be nice to see that on the uniform policy itself to be able to allow to wear that. Now, and I do think there should be some guidelines with it. It needs to be this current year's, and it's going to promote more families to support what we got going on. Now, you don't want to support it, you still got the option to wear your blue or your white or whatever color, but just to be able to have that option every day and really support our local communities, our local teams, and that, I just wanted to put that on the floor, let y'all consider that.
So your proposal is, in addition to uniform shirts, allowing students to wear spirit shirts whenever they want?
Correct.
That's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think according to Robert's rules, we have to complete the item that we're on, and then
Yeah.
it would take a unanimous vote to amend this agenda to add an item. So,
Now, as far as the skirts go,
yeah.
are you going to allow the cheerleaders to come to school in their uniforms if you ban the skirts? That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, so here we are, back to our skirts. Any discussion from committee members now that we've heard from our guests?
Okay. I'll speak. I'm at Morgan City High School, Tori Grzappi. And I mean, we have the most students, right? 600 and something. And we don't have issues with skirts. And that's mainly not because they wear skirts. It's just our demographic or our girls, they don't choose to. Like we may have less than 20 in a day that have on a skirt. So to ban them, I don't think that would work because it's not a parish issue. I think it's just a per school issue, And a few of the girls that do wear skirts, it is for, a religious belief and reason. So I don't, in just terms of our school, I don't feel like banning them would help. We just have other things.
And if it's for a religious purpose, it is going to be a modest skirt that is not too short.
But then that goes your argument too. If it's for a religious reason, then, no one has to document which religion, that's not written anywhere. So who's to say? If you say it's religion based, then you can just say that anything. I can wear purple socks because, my religion tells me I wear purple socks on Thursday, So, but that's my little.
Okay, so I don't like extra problems. However, I do like coming equipped with possible solutions. Um, so we can look at the hemline. We can look at making sure, again, with the tights, that nothing was transparent. We can, there have been problems when I did talk to certain schools that the children show up with the proper length skirt. By the end of the day, it is rolled up. By the time the principal is ready to discipline the situation, the skirt is rolled down on the way to talk to the disciplinarian. Okay? So what if we have a 3 strikes and you're out rule on that? What if is there a possible situation to where teachers are then allowed to photograph the student at the time of the infraction and that get emailed? Is that against the rules? I assumed it was, but however, the next thing is an actual uniform skirt from a uniform company is already readily made longer than a Gap skirt. So why can't we stimulate our local economy? I went and talked to alumni today. I also went and talked to Mr. Skipper today. I think we can do it at different price points and different styles to where we have actual approved skirts. Skipper was more than willing to show me. They have certain skirts that literally specify a longer length skirt, but uniform skirts, actual qualified uniform skirts, are at a longer length than a Gap skirt, and we now have school cash pay online. If we need to maybe look at a vendor on the west end that could carry it, but if not, they can order skirts from Skipper or alumni. We could receive the funds for it and have them delivered to the school. But we could pick out 3 specific skirts that we know that are a longer length that we could all approve, and there would be a happy medium. Because what I'm understanding is the problem really has, as far as the schools that I represent, and I'm a split district, really have come from the high schools, not just one. There's been a few different. And so if it is a problem, if it needs to be addressed, I do believe that we should have skirts. However, do we change the length to absolute knee length? Or do we start specifying different skirts at different price points and make it readily available to the parents? Because guess what? You don't have to wear a skirt if you don't want to. There are numerous different choices. So those are solutions. Also, the price point ranged from $25 all the way to $50. So it could be anywhere in that range of different skirts that you guys approve, or the uniform committee in general.
So, I received an email, I'm sorry, Gidget Everett, but, I don't know, do I read it as is? Do I take out the names? Okay. I'm sending this email to voice my concerns about tonight's meeting. My daughter is a freshman and has been targeted about her skirt on 2 occasions at school, once in the fall and once recently. In the fall, no issues. She was told all was good and went back to class. The most recent incident, she passed her skirt length test just fine. As she was walking out, she was told to lift her sweatshirt. The adult then proceeded to pick apart her skirt and told her that it was not school appropriate, the waistband was wrong, and the material was not allowed. The daughter went back to class and was upset and distraught. Teacher sent them an email about it. The daughter was nervous to go back to school after this. The mom was mad, all that. But then she goes on to talk about, she or he goes on to talk about not targeting the boys and the lengths of their shorts. So apparently there's some issue with short length. Now boys are wearing mid-thigh or higher short length. Sorry, that makes me chuckle. But, or the tightness of their shorts, that literally shows everything. My daughter and her friends have made comments to me about it after they had the issue. They feel like their school is only targeting skirt length, waistband construction, and material. And after talking with administrators, they were told that they would need some time to find uniforms. If they needed time to find uniforms mid-year, that was fine. So I think they feel like it's a double standard with the short length. And I will say that, after being in an administrative position for a couple of years, it is tough. What Ms. Torres said is true. You do have, it's the same skirt, and it's basically the length of someone's leg from their hip to their knee. A skirt on me that would look perfectly fine wouldn't probably look right on Miss Torres. It would look like it's too short, even though it's the same length skirt. So I do think that it's an issue, and I understand. I don't think that banning is the answer for multiple reasons. Possibly, maybe the wearing tights underneath, if that, that way you don't have to, I mean, granted, it can't be like, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of uniforms anyway. I'm sorry, don't mean to say that, but that's just how I feel. I think that if you dress appropriately, you don't have to have that. To talk about what Miss Lindsay said, there is no uniformity to uniforms. It's not. I mean, I'm not trying to be ugly, but it just isn't. They don't have this problem at the Catholic schools, the Baptist, whatever schools that have that, because they buy from one place, one thing. They don't care if you can afford it or not. They have that luxury. We don't have that luxury. And I'm going to be honest, $25 for a skirt for a uniform is high to me. That's expensive. Maybe I'm just a cheapskate, but we look for sales. Yes, we do. We look for, yeah. So, and I'm not, I know, and I want to support local too. Like, I have no issue with all of that, but I do feel like banning is not the way, and it is tough. 2 inches above the knee, back to what Ms. Rentrope was saying, it's going to be different on different kids. So it is a problem that they can pull it up, they can roll it, they can do all of those things. It's probably the one piece of a uniform that drove me the craziest as an administrator and as a teacher. And it is uncomfortable to say to a young woman, okay, turn around, because for some kids, again, not trying to be inappropriate, but if they have a bigger bottom, it goes up in the back. Well, they might not even realize that until, I mean, so there's a lot of, yeah, there's just a lot there. I mean, and you don't want to, like, for me, it was so uncomfortable, and I'm looking at the girl going, I love you, I think you're great, I think you're a wonderful kid, because I'm scrutinizing the length of their skirt, and I'm a woman, and so I can imagine as a male administrator or teacher, it would be uncomfortable as well.
Ms. Torres, you had your hand up.
So, So we could go knee length, a lot of the Catholic schools and other schools used to say, okay, kneel. If your skirt doesn't touch the ground, then it's not the appropriate length. That was the literal measurement, and it worked. It was just the rule, period. Whether you were shopping for a skirt as a mom, your child puts the skirt on. Okay, can you kneel for me? If it doesn't hit the ground, then it's not acceptable for school. We can ask the discipline committee to possibly, after 3 write-ups, that there would be a different disciplinary action. If they're caught actually rolling their skirt, a different disciplinary action, because that is intent. So I think all of those options should be looked at. Like I said, I would just wanted to come with solutions. I went and talked to Mr. Skipper. I went and talked to alumni. I didn't know if they had one on the other end. If maybe we bought them in bulk, it would be a little cheaper or different price ranges. But they literally do have uniform skirts that are already made longer, first of all, if it's an actual uniform company. And second of all, they even specify an extra longer length with certain uniform skirts. So I just wanted to bring the information here. I'm not saying I'm the guru with the answer. I'm just saying we can come up with solutions, either tights or knee length, with the rule that if they kneel, if it doesn't hit the ground, then it's not the proper length. And then they have an actual measurable length to say this works and this doesn't. And so does the parent. So,
I'm, as a person that's been in this for 26 years, I'm not asking any kid to kneel, because then I'll be in court because I hurt their knee. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't, and I understand what you're saying, because my mother actually said that to me. I was like, yeah, that's great, but we can't do that. So that would be a concern for me. That would create another issue that we
you would
don't
be
wanna
able to
deal with.
determine knee length. I'm talking about for a parent, they would actually have a measurable amount. You as an administrator can look and say, this is their knee, but your skirt's way up here. You know, but for a parent, they actually have something measurable. We can ask the parent, did you qualify that it was knee length? They should be able to know. It's a measurable amount for a parent, is kind of what I'm saying. That removes possible instructors, male or female, being uncomfortable if a lady doesn't know how to sit properly either.
Well, one thing that could help if you wanted to add to the rule, I know the thing is to ban it. I don't think it needs to be banned, but a straight skirt compared to a pleated skirt, it's much easier to sit in a desk, you know, and be appropriate, because it can be tucked and put where it needs to be. Rather than, so that if there needs to be an adjustment to the rule, then just no straight skirts with slits. It can be only pleated or A-line type skirts.
And
One more thing. And it if somebody's a repeat short skirt, it then becomes not a short skirt, it's now willful disobedience. So if you know the rule and you continue to do it, then it's not a uniform referral anymore,
I think at this time we have minor, major for uniforms. So it is basically 3 strikes, and then you get your major referral. If you do have a young lady who's trying to shorten her skirt for whatever attention she might want, that would then not really be a uniform infraction. That would be a different type of behavior to address. If it's consistent over and over and over, you do move to a level 2, you do have willful disobedience. So I think the discipline matrix takes care of the discipline in its place. I think where we are in our gray areas, we need to climb out of the gray area and just define in our minds as a committee what is too short and what is appropriate. And I think once we do that, then we're moving forward. And y'all, this is a living discipline committee. We could try to put something in place today. There's always the option of coming back to the table at the end of next school year, trying again. Maybe because this is such a thing now. The message is out there, and our little girls and our parents are gonna know that this is causing a problem. So maybe just by having this meeting, we're gonna start seeing something better. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Vining?
Oh, and Mr. Skip too wanted to say something, but my personal thoughts and feelings on this is I do have a daughter and I'm raising her to be modest. So at home, because she's 8, she does cartwheels, she does flips. If she wears a dress at home, I expect her to put on a pair of shorts underneath because she doesn't know how to sit like a lady yet. So at school, she does wear the skirts. And again, I'm raising her to be modest. So, myself as a parent, I monitor her. I don't believe that the entire parish should suffer the consequences of the few that wish to not follow the rules. So that would be my suggestion for the length is to, instead of the 2 inches above the knee, maybe institute the fingertip rule. Because my daughter's all legs, and I know as she gets older, it's going to be harder to find the appropriate lengths for her. And then right now it's easy with the skirts, but as she gets older, I know that's gonna disappear. So maybe we could ask for bicycle shorts underneath the skirts. So the fingertip rule and bicycle shorts could be a good compromise. And that's really all my thoughts. But I know I asked for community input on this, and a lot of feedback I got was that the parents are pro skirts. They don't want to see them get banned. So.
Can we at least all agree that we're taking banning skirts off of the table? Can someone put that in the form of a motion?
I make a motion that we remove banning skirts from the agenda.
Second? I'll second. Ms. Griffin seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Banning skirts is off the table. So we come up with a solution to revise the policy.
Dr. Sanders, the point you made about us having this meeting and discussing the skirt problem, it seems to be a parenting problem. Number one, if they're going to go buy a skirt for their child and they're going to see that you got to make sure it's not too short. If it's too short, you don't buy it and you don't wear it to school. And if they do wear it to school and they get reprimanded for it, and they should, it becomes an enforcement problem. And there's consequences for that, whatever they are at each school, whatever would deem necessary. But there's product out there. It's not just at alumni or skippers. There's skirts out there everywhere. Like Ms. Krasafi brought up, pleated skirts fit better. They're more modest. You can buy skirts that go below your knee. And they're for public schools. And you can buy all this stuff online. You don't have to, I'd love everybody to come to their local sporting goods store and buy this stuff. But you can buy this stuff everywhere. Because most people are shopping online today. So it falls back on the parent. They need to know that this school board means business. You cannot wear inappropriate clothes to school and put other people in an embarrassed position. I've seen little girls from these schools, and the ones I've seen, some of them got on skirts that look like they appropriate, and some of them don't. And I'm thinking, my daughters wouldn't have worn nothing like that.
Okay, so what about if we would do knee length or with 2-inch, a mandatory tight, or with a skirt, right? So if it's saying anything above 4th grade to 12th, right? If it has a skirt, it has to be 2 inches, or if it's 2 inches, it has to be a mandatory tight or a skirt. If not, then it needs to be to knee length. Well, mostly that would be considered for our younger age kids, mostly in the first place, the way I think about it, but I think that's because I have an elementary tyke.
And also take into consideration that especially on the middle school level, those girls are growing. At the beginning of the year, the skirt may be appropriate, but then by the end of the year, if it's the same skirt, it's probably going to be too short by that time.
So then they can wear a tight under it.
So this is just an option. Knee length, or you have to have tights underneath.
I feel like that leaves it open though when you say that. I think it should just be knee length.
How would you determine if it's a skirt or a skirt being knee length unless you ask to look under the skirt?
I say it all has to be knee length. Because if not, it's gonna be a hassle to figure out.
So elementary's not in this discussion, so it's just.
Yeah, because, well, but then poor Patterson Junior High is gonna have, your fifth graders are gonna have one thing and your sixth graders are gonna have another, so I feel like for you guys, it needs to be all the same.
I think the current policy is fine. I do not think we have a short skirt problem. I think we have an enforcing the short skirt.
Well, I want to say one thing too, because more than one person actually messaged me about this. One of them being my own niece. She is off the growth chart, like small size, because she's just so small and she's in junior high. And when I tell you, my sister has actually gone to numerous stores every summer to get this poor baby skirts, has to buy them 2 to 3 sizes larger in the waist, get them taken in by a seamstress so that way they are at an appropriate length. Yeah, she's like teeny, she's just so skinny. And so like she's already buying them 2 to 3 sizes larger than this baby's gonna fit. She'd probably be a 10th grader before she can fit in the waist. But
Have
she's just small.
the same problem, except my daughter is a little round, and so I have to buy them bigger, and then she doesn't get to wear pants a lot unless I get them hemmed. So it really, I've had to hem stuff my whole life because of my shape too. It's a problem whether it's a uniform or it's not a uniform. This is a problem according to varying body shapes and sizes, period.
Well, that's why I was gonna point out here that maybe this needs to be bold, and if it doesn't change, then just bold the appropriately sized. Because it's gonna look different on each person. So just make that more visible, maybe. Because based on your body type, what skirt you can have, because my kids have the same issue. To fit them here, it's shorter.
Would the committee be willing to possibly table this to get more community input, possibly in the form of a survey?
I definitely think that, I don't think this is a uniform policy problem. I really don't. I think the 2 inches is appropriate for the shorts, for the skirts, for the skirts. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is what's happening when they get to school. Maybe when they leave the house, they're fine, and how we're handling and enforcing it at school. But I don't see where we have a problem with the uniform here, policy here.
Can we possibly look at, in the survey, at it becoming a different disciplinary action after certain infractions? Maybe. No? Right. I'm more worried about, I'm not worried about a regular the ones that are rolling the skirt, it should be a different disciplinary action. Because that, to me, is intent.
Correct, and that's not, it's literally not something that we would have to make as a policy. That's something we would discuss with the principals and assistant principals in our meetings, just to be clear on how we're gonna handle it. So if we're not gonna table, we need a motion on the floor, and we're just gonna roll with the decision y'all make. And if we have to revisit next year, we'll revisit next year.
We need to vote on anything if we're not changing the policy? Or, I mean, I'll make a motion to leave the policy as is if you'd like that. Okay, I'll make that motion.
Anyone second to leave the policy as is?
Tanya Hill, second.
Oh, got me.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we leave the policy as it is. So the parents cannot find skirts that are not too short. Is that what they're telling you? I point of resetting every 9 weeks is where y'all are getting hung up. If it's the same infraction over and over and over and over, it's no longer minor and it's no longer a uniform. It is blatant disrespect for policy. It is willful disobedience. It is disrespect for authority. So we need to take that consequence and treat it as what that behavior actually is. And perhaps that would start to make a statement. Because you can't just be minor, 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 skirt, 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 reset, minor, 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 skirt, 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 because yes, I would go nuts as well. There comes a point where enough is enough. This is the rule, your child is not following the rule. So here's where we're moving. And then you go from that point forward. That is my advice, okay? And then we see how we go from there. Because I agree, it's a change. It needs to be a change in behavior, okay? Okay, we did have something on the floor from Mr. Bienvenu about wearing spirit shirts anytime we want. It takes, from my knowledge of Robert's rules, a unanimous vote of a committee to add any item the night of a meeting to an agenda. So we would need a motion to consider adding this item to the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Bienvenu, do you want us to address this tonight, or would you want us to wait until our next uniform committee meeting, or is this something you'd like us to do tonight? Tonight would be great. Okay, I'll make a motion to address it.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion about adding the item, not about the item itself, adding the item?
One of the things I had on my list, from my principal, which we've discussed this as a school, for a few years now, but not just allowing any spirit shirt, but, as a school, like we wear green polos or white polos, but offering them to purchase a uniform T-shirt, that may say Morgan City High School, and it is a uniform T-shirt that they could buy 5 of them, and wear one each day instead of wearing a polo each day. So. Okay. 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 I thought we did that.
We have a motion on the floor to add this item to the agenda. We have a second to add this item to the agenda. It must be unanimous. All in favor of adding this item to the agenda? Any opposed? Carries. Now we have this item on the agenda. We're going to
What I just
discuss
said.
the possibility of wearing spirit shirts any day of the week and any type of boundaries that they may come along with that.
So my proposal was not necessarily just one that one individual would offer. It was, we want to support the cheerleaders, the baseball team, the football team, the dance team, the band, everybody. That's kind of, and it has to be this current year. We're not bringing 2024. It's going to be the 2025, 2026 school year shirts that we're gonna allow to wear. That way, it's kind of promoting our families to purchase that instead of, the $100 on blue shirts that I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna spend it here, and now, a portion of my money goes to each one of these things that I'm supporting.
Oh, go ahead. Well, I like that I like the idea of it being the current year, but realistically enforcing that would be a nightmare, if I'm being honest. I think it would be difficult to determine, is that a 24-25 or is that a 25-26? I think that would be hard. I do understand your sentiment, and I like that, the idea of them being able to support the school events. I know that myself, my daughter, and my husband, we buy shirts, it's a lot, and we try to buy them for all the things. So I do like that idea, and I think it's comfortable for the kids to be able to wear them. So I do like the idea. I just don't know about enforcing the current year. I mean, I don't know. They have to figure that out.
Right, right. And the reason about the current year is because, I mean, we don't want shirts that the neck's hanging down to here and things like that. That creates a whole nother issue.
Well, I'll just say from our high school point, like our foreign language club just got their shirts yesterday, and this year's foreign language club theme is the soccer thing. I don't know my soccer things, but World Cup. And so it's like a goalie, and it's
Yeah.
pink. So so like, and we have the other clubs that have different colors. They're not all green and white and gray.
Right.
So that would just be like you're just wearing every shirt. That's why like what I was saying earlier. If there's a uniform T-shirt, I mean that's still a T-shirt option, but then not. I don't know.
You could make it the option that it has to be school colors, T-shirt, school shirt, spirit shirt, maybe. Just throwing it out there.
Do any of the principals want to give their opinion?
What you got? Let's go.
I'm
What do y'all think?
thinking.
I think it would be very hard to monitor what shirts are the official school shirt, like you're saying. I like Tori's idea that when you have your back to school shirt sale, this is the official spirit shirt that could be worn, maybe as an idea. But there's so many people that make shirts in their kitchens nowadays. You can't just open it up and then you're having all sorts of little butterflies and PJH and like all sorts of things. So there would have to be limits. So it's just one more thing that I'm gonna have to track. And for Ms. Torres, she's worn out tracking skirts, so now she's gonna have to track shirts. She just go all night. With spirit shirts. You would like the spirit shirts, everything. Okay. I don't know how I feel about it.
It's about protection. My thing is about protecting the students. Are we protecting the students? Spirit shirts, with the right message,
Yeah.
It's about protection, or we cannot even learn if they're not protected. Safety is number one, but.
But for the shirts, I mean, I don't know. It would be one more thing for us to monitor.
What about, sorry, Vicky Bourgeois. With the spirit shirt, like one of my kids go to Ranger Elementary and they have the Golden Eagle for the month. So they're able to wear that Golden Eagle shirt any day of the week. And that shirt only comes from the school. Just like their spirit shirt that they wear on Fridays, it comes from the website. So if it's a shirt that's from that website, from the school, then I think that they can wear that any day of the week. Yeah, to do that instead of getting a homemade shirt.
And that's your school allowing you to do that. So if,
Mhm.
if the school would say, we're okay with that, then
I think Mr. Bienvenu brought up a topic that everybody's interested in. However, I think we might need time to digest this idea and think about the pros and cons of it. But what Ms. Bourgeois just brought up is a good point, along with that idea, if it's the school's logo, just like Ms. Krasafi was saying, and not just any spirit shirt, because I see some schools, they might order an orange shirt and their school colors might be black and gold, because they want something different. So that's a spirit shirt. There's plenty of them out there, because we do plenty of different colors for schools. Just like right now for Berwick Elementary, they're having a field day, and they got a different color shirt for every grade. So maybe to keep things looking more uniform, then we could go into thinking about just tabling this for now, bringing it up at the next meeting with enough time to think about it as to what kind of restrictions we would put on something like that.
Christy Este, HR Director, and I'm gonna tell on myself when I say this, but as a principal, I did allow the kids to wear spirit shirts, and it was mainly because at Centerville, we had so many fundraisers, and everybody wanted to do a shirt because we pre-K through 12, there were so many. And so that was a way for our organizations to raise the money, but also if they bought it from a local vendor, as long as it said Centerville High School, then we allowed it. So it wasn't as hard to monitor because we didn't specify a year, we didn't specify where you had to buy it, but it was a spirit shirt. And most of the people did buy from the organizations. So I just wanted to add that.
I agree with Mr. Skipper that maybe we can table this. Can I make a motion to table this? Because I feel like there's a lot that could be discussed.
I agree, because I think also the administrators ought to be, we need to talk to them about it and let them have some input on it also.
But it is worth talking about, so I appreciate that. So we have a motion on the floor to table this so that we can get more administrator input. Do we have a second to table this?
Tanya Hills, I'll second it.
All in favor of tabling this idea for spirit shirts? Any opposed? Motion carries, we table. Do we have anything else that we need to work out? Motion to adjourn. Any second? Second by Ms. Everett. All in favor? Any opposed?